We're live at Expert35. I'm your host, Gabriel Garcia, and as promised, expert from 35 different industries, talking about the challenges, talking about the hardship, and the opportunities. Well, today we're going to talk about new opportunities with blockchain, new technology in the arts. It's Art Week. We got Barbara Blades back again. Barbara, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
And from the other side of the globe, we've got Shankar. Thank you for joining us from India. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Gabriel, for inviting me to the show. I'm really excited.
I'm excited. I mean, first of all, I'm a technology geek, I guess, and blockchain's always been something super exciting for me, but art's super exciting. I had Barbara earlier in the week, and my favorite question that popped up was like, what is a fail-safe investment? What's the best investment? And Barbara, what did you say to that? Do you remember what your answer was?
Absolutely. You need to buy something that you love.
Yes.
Something that should really speak to you personally as a collector.
And
will always hold its value.
That is the truth. If you buy something you love, it'll hold its value. But today we're actually going to talk about art and how to authenticate it, how technology can be better used for it. And Shankar, you've been doing this, well, you've been in technology for 17 years, right? And you've now built a blockchain technology around the way to be able to track art. Well, I don't even give it justice. Tell us what you do.
So blockchain is something which we only hear about for cryptocurrency, and I think that has been beaten to death. But there are a lot of other uses of blockchain, and that's what we explored when we thought about implementing that in the art industry. And just blockchain may not help us, so we combined it with the IoT concept, which is Internet of Things. So in a simple language, what is Internet of Things? It's a microchip which connects a thing and it brings it to the internet. So for example, if you can operate your AC, your air conditioning through your mobile, so that's the AC is on the internet. So there is a microchip which brought it there. Now in the art industry, these paintings were, how do we identify that if the painting is authentic one or not? So that's where we thought we will use this technology to help the art buyers, art collectors, art lovers, even art galleries, museums, to put something which is authentic. And for that, we created a microchip. Gabriel, do you want me to show us right now? If we
Sure, no, show. I'm putting. Wait, let me put Barbara back online. Yes, show us a little bit about how this technology works.
So this is a microchip which we have developed. So it is a very simple one, paper thin. It can even bend. So if we put it on the back of the painting and we roll it on, nothing happens to this microchip. And this is a highly secured one. It is used right now in the financial industries for credit cards and debit cards and that level of security. It has, for the technologist, it is 128-bit encrypted. There's a private key and a public key, and then there is the factory written ID is there, which we can't change. And this microchip goes behind a painting. So I'll just quickly show how it works. That will be the easiest way to understand for people who are watching this right now. So say this painting I have in my hand. This has it's a small painting I have used so that everyone can see. It has a microchip behind this, and I use my simple Samsung phone, take it close to it. It asks me which browser I can use. I select the browser, and it shows me every data, every information about this painting. So it shows me the image of the painting. It shows me the title, the description, the price, the size of it, the medium which is used, even the artist. And the most important part is this is called, I don't know whether everybody can,
we can see it very clearly. Yeah, but we'll put a screenshot in the chat.
All right.
What's the most important part? What does it do?
So it also captures the provenance, which is the history of ownership of a painting. So if Gabriel has a painting, he's an artist, and he makes the painting first, I buy it from Gabriel. So I have one record there, which is a ledger entry. And then Barbara said, "Oh yes, I love this painting, so I sell it with an increased price to Barbara," and so then we got another ledger record entered in this, and that is stored in the blockchain. That's how this IoT and blockchain works together in the art industry.
That's incredible, right? One, because you're well, actually, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm going to let Barbara talk about this. Why is this so important to you, and how does this make your job easier, Barbara?
Well, this is a fantastic tool for my job. Part of when I do an appraisal report, I'm going to research that artwork and that artist. If I have this information at my fingertips, an hour or so of research is gone. And sometimes I need a lot more time to research an artist. And if it's at my fingertips, then I can build on that research and learn more about that artwork and artist. And that's going to help me add value to the artwork or to the project. I also like this technology. It helps artists build a legacy. When they pass away, if their estate's not picked up, then the record of their artworks and where they are, it's not on record. This will enable artists' legacies, their family members, to keep up with what their uncle, their aunt, their father, their mother has done in the art world community. It's also a way to find out if the artwork has spread to Russia, Italy, London, and different parts of the world. It simply adds value. And this is remote verification. It's good for the appraiser, it's good for the artist, and it's good for the collector.
Absolutely. I got a great question from Greg. With this technology, does art still need to be appraised every time it changes hands?
Absolutely. You just don't have to spend as much money on your appraisal when this happens, but it's good to document the replacement value, the location of the item, and you also want to make sure as it changes hands that nothing's been compromised with the condition.
In Shankar,
and that of course would be noted in the digital ledger.
Yeah, as far as the digital ledger, right? If somebody's appraising it, it doesn't go in there. It only goes in there if somebody buys it, right?
Yes. So if there is if you say if you are the owner of the painting and you want to appraise it to find out what is the value of the asset you are holding, and that's where the appraising is done, we can still have that also as an entered. The thing is, when you plan to sell that art, you anyway need to have the price appraised anyways. But then if you have some history of how the price has improved in the past, it helps the current appraiser to do the job. Otherwise,
but does the appraisal, can you store the appraisal in the data without it being sold? Because Barbara, to your point, on Monday, we'll go back to your other expert show, you were saying that you should appraise every couple of years, right? Because values change, right?
Absolutely, every 3 to 5 years, because you don't want to be paying for too much coverage, but you also want to make sure you're properly covered. And with fine art, there can be a great momentum in the replacement value, in the fair market value. So it's really smart to watch it. And that's a conversation that I have with the collector, which ones are going to, you need to watch because of the potential momentum on the market, and make those decisions and make a plan on the next steps for appraising the artwork.
And I can see this being a great use, Shankar, and let me know if you can see this as a great use. But we've got the fires in California, we've got hurricanes in Texas. I mean, welcome to 2020, the apocalypse, right? It's happening. If somebody does go through a flood, they can still scan that because it's not electronic, right? It's just an RFID, and find out the original or the latest value of that painting, and then that can go into like a claim if it didn't survive, right?
Yeah, so as long as the art is surviving, we can definitely scan it. And
you have to scan the art as well, or just the sticker?
So the sticker always lives with the art.
With the art, right?
Yeah. So we have tested the glue as well. So it is very strong glue. It does not go away with the normal temperature, moisture, water, and chemical things. So in the case of extreme fire, I mean, if the painting itself is burnt, I mean, we can't do
Sure, if it's burnt, it's burnt. But at least if it survives and you can still scan it, it may actually be, I'm not saying this is how you should manage your inventory. I'm saying at least it gives you like another safeguard. But that's just what we talked about earlier in the week, Barbara. It just made me kind of think in that space.
You've brought up a really good point. If an artwork has been damaged, and they've come to me for a consultation, I'm going to make two suggestions. One, to go to a conservator, and I'm going to shortlist the appropriate conservator for that type of artwork. And I'm also going to recommend going back to the artist. And if we have that digital information, we'll be able to look up that artist, to communicate with them, if they should do that restoration, or if they want to give advice to the conservation team to do that restoration.
And
that, I mean, that's
would
something
also
I
be
do
stored,
now.
and that restoration will be stored in the blockchain, correct?
As well,
Shankar?
but it really, it makes a difference when you're reselling it, if you can say that the artist was part of the restoration, either hands-on or directed the conservation team.
Great point. And this is just valid. I mean, it's authentic, it's verified, and it's not just a piece of paper, it's technology. I've got a great question from Jennifer. Well, she's asking, is this consumer based? Like, how is the technology being adapted now?
So though the terms, which is IoT and blockchain, it sounds like a big technology. It's very complicated, but from the user perspective, it's very simple to use, and that's why we kept it simple phones, which most of the phones right now has these kind of technologies inbuilt. So it's very user friendly. Second, it is the technology part and the complexity part is all taken back end. So what all the user will be doing is filling up simple forms.
I've got another really interesting question. Is like, who currently is using the technology?
So we launched this technology last year in September, and we have already got around 200 plus artists who are very happily using this technology. We have got a couple of galleries, one in India, one in Italy, who have adopted this technology and they're utilizing it. And there are a few museums which we are in the discussion, and so it's slowly getting into the understanding where different stakeholders of the art industry are absorbing it and adopting it.
Great follow-up question is, Jennifer wants to know, can the artist add this to their own pieces before going to market?
Oh, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. So in those situations, we send the microchip directly to the artist, and if the artist is living, the one thing which is applicable across the world is the self-declaration of the artist that this is my authentic painting.
That is so neat, because that's so important, right? One of the things we talked offline was saying, when you buy art, you want to make sure that it's authentic, because that's supporting that artist. That is continuing that that lifeline and that history for that artist. And I think you're also doing it in a very digital world, giving it like new life and new vision into like, okay, you may not be buying it from the artist because you're buying it from the secondary market, but if it's authentic, you're still like adding value to that artist, right? Because that's all being tracked, right? It's so interesting. Shankar, you've built like this huge community. You're part of BNI in India, and you've built a huge community, digital community of artists and appraisers, and that's how you know Barbara. So tell me how that came about and what you're doing with that community, because I think you're gonna have a lot more interest now that you're on Expert35 on this.
So,
absolutely.
So this started when the lockdown reached India, and we were thinking about. We have two options: either we start crying and say, "Oh no, the world has gone down," or we do something about it. So that's where we three of us we came together. We started a group, and we said we will have every stakeholders of in the art industry. So it's not just the artist and the art like art appraisers. There are art framers, there are art galleries, there are art curators, art consultants, and even art technologists like us. So we all came together to find out how do we reach out to world and make this as a world platform and not just limited to our geography. Otherwise, we go to a art gallery which is just located within that geographical boundaries.
Right.
Whereas we can go in this community across the world. That's how I met Barbara, and I'm glad we're working together now.
Yeah, tell me about
Oh,
that, Barbara.
absolutely.
Tell me about how you got all involved, because that's how I met him. So this is just such a small world. I mean, we're literally covering the globe right now, and in a Zoom call or in a live stream. But how
Well,
was that interaction, and how are you building that community, Barbara?
well, I feel very blessed that I got to meet Shankar. We've had several email exchanges and conversations, and it's sort of helping me be a better appraiser from some of these conversations. But Shankar reached out to BNI members all over the world, and I think he's drawn in experts from 10 different countries. And I feel very fortunate to be shortlisted and have been a part of his program and was one of his panel speakers on art forgery, which was just very exciting. And on that panel was an expert from France and India, of course, and it was just delightful to be a part. Since then, we've been able to talk about how communities can use this, how it's beneficial to curators and small collections. You know, I'll deal with clients that have a large art collection that will often be borrowed for an art exhibition, will need to be traveling. And this digital ledger helps keep track of that. I've also worked with universities, and they have not had this technology, but it would have been so helpful in the appraisal process. And I know that they will rotate their collection at different times, and it will help them keep track of where things are. So there's just so many uses to this digital ledger. It's a fantastic virtual tool.
I love it. I love the energy. I love that you're building this global community, because art is global, right? I think that's one of the things we forget, is that it's one of those things that unite us all, and but it's become very isolationist. And by building this idea of this visualization into it, I think you're building a secondary market where now people can say, oh wait, the art's only worth 1,000 here in the United States, but it's worth 500 or 5,000 in a different country, right? And by
Right
having
now,
these communities,
you're just talking about money, 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 money. But you can also talk about history and interest and art
yes,
movement. And you could be in the museum and it can be there right there on your phone. It's just there's just so many applications
I
to
love
this
that on
virtual
the
tool.
museum, because it's going to be, we talked about it earlier, it doesn't track us yet, but I want that. I want to track me, because every time I interact with a piece of art, I would love that to be part of my ledger. And it's like, look at all the art that I've interacted with, right? Instead of like, look at the artist and all the people that artist interacted with. But it's there. We're going to get there. I think actually, this is a really good
You know
question.
what? Hey, well, I need to jump in before we go there. I happen to know that your girlfriend has, put together a lovely art collection. And this just might be the collection that you need to get virtually verified. So after this, I hope you'll connect with Shankar about making sure that everything's digitally locked, recorded in blockchain.
Well, and to a great question, right, is how much does it cost? Before we commit, Jennifer wants to know, how much does this cost?
So before I answer that, actually, all the virtual exhibitions which we are doing now, virtual exhibitions, not the real where you go to a museum and see that, we can actually track which art you are watching it for even a certain amount, a certain time duration.
Right. Cool.
And so we did not thought about adding that on the blockchain, but nice idea. So that could be the next thing. Okay, so now coming to the cost of this. So this is one per chip. It is just $10.
Lifetime.
Yeah, for lifetime. Yeah, because and this per painting. So it is every painting would need a unique microchip.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, because some people don't come to the art, even if it's if you do 500 runs of something, you'll be 500 chips. Every painting, every single piece of art would carry one with them.
Absolutely.
What else would you put it on, Barbara? Can you see it on memorabilia as well, as well as art? I mean, do you see it applied to that as well, Barbara?
I don't know. I just think art right now. But, art is decorative art, furniture, sculpture, ceramics. It meets a need. So anything that's going to be passed down from generation to generation should be archived with the digital ledger, or it's recommended.
I love that. I love that. Shankar, my favorite part of the show is we talk about 3 things that we can do now and really kind of help people understand this new way of interacting. What should they do?
Right. Thank you for asking that question, Gabriel. So I feel that first, being from the art background, it is first point is buy authentic art. And how do we find out? We have a lot of experts to go with. So it's when you buy an authentic art, it's not just about you are having a nice building a nice collection. It's also about how you are helping the artist also grow or live uh, in this particular situation. And second is approach experts when required. So whether it is appraisers, whether it is technologist, whether it is a curator, whether it is a techie like Gabriel, if we have to think about technology aspect, taking help from experts always help an individual. And the third thing which I really love is about, I want to give this message to everyone who is watching us, is accept change, accept new things. And primarily the technology is what is helping us in helping us a lot today. Because of the technology itself, I sitting across the world, and I'm being able to talk with Gabriel and Barbara and all the people who are watching us. So take help of this technology, and we will be able to go out of this pandemic in a very, very wonderful way.
This is so interesting, so incredible. I love like the application. I think this is one of the few times that I'm like, yes, blockchain, right? A lot of people throw it out there for other ideas. I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea. Barbara, I'm so honored that you were able to connect us. We've connected the world.
Thank you.
In such a unique way, and really, you really put it all together. And I love, back to the, it's been resonating with me all week. Buy things you love, invest in things you love, and I can tell, Shankar, that this is something you love doing too.
Yeah.
This is a labor of love. That's a business, and it's a very well, organized business. I would love, best of luck. We're gonna turn you loose on the notes. There's other questions. People want to know how to get involved in these virtual exhibit and how to join the community. You've done a great job building it, Barbara. I mean, obviously, can you speak to that community a little bit, Barbara? Like what other connections you've made within that community?
Within that community, or how important it is for artists to be a part of an exhibition, and that they should reach out to be in the 2021 exhibition that you'll be hosting out of India next year.
Perfect. And we'll put all that in the notes. We're going to put that in the notes. I think this is a great technology, and it's perfect timing because it's Art Week. Thank you both for being on Expert35 this morning.
Thank you so
much.
My
pleasure. Thank you.
Or this afternoon for you, I guess. What time is it for you right now, Shankar?
It's cocktail time.
Yeah.
8:30 p.m.
What? It's the evening, and I'm barely waking up over here. So, man, so incredible. Totally. I mean, we are 12 hours apart. Yeah. That is awesome. So thank you so much for being on the show, guys. I will put up your logo. I'll put a little bit of more info, but we hope to have you guys soon. I want to follow up on that virtual exhibit, and if there's some ways we can interact with the art, I'm happy to share that, and I want to learn more.
So just one thing I'll add, when we say virtual exhibition, that exhibition is actually using VR. So it gives a feeling of how we enter in a 3D world, and we can watch as if we are watching on using our VR specs, and we are watching a show in an art gallery. So people who are interested to see must go and check that. If you can put a link somewhere, that would help people.
We'll put the link on the chat, and stick with us. We're gonna do a quick out, and then we'll keep talking offline. Guys, thank you so much. Barbara, thank you for joining us from Houston, and Shankar, thank you for joining us from India.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was incredible information about Jumbish, which is tracking with blockchain on the digital art. I can't wait to actually interact with this type of application. This is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for experts that just changing and revolutionize the way we interact, the way we track, the way we do things. And man, this is going to be so helpful for the artists, for the investors, for the buyers. I can't wait to learn more. And we'll put the notes on the virtual exhibit. We'll see you guys soon on Expert35, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you again.
We educate during difficult times. We collaborate at Expert35. This is for a better tomorrow and a better today. Let's come together, and together we will find a way. You got questions, we got solutions.